So you and I have had no real conversations about this. What should we do for this Halo TV show?
I'm not gonna lie. The more information I saw from it, because I completely forgot it was dropping.
Yeah,
And small
I feel
things.
like we should review it though, shouldn't we?
How long is it though?
I don't know.
Because that's the question of watching hours of a series and then reviewing it. You have to make sure the series is worth it.
How many episodes?
How many episodes
For Halo?
Because it could be pretty simple. Because it doesn't look good. From anything I've seen, it does not look good.
People aren't. I don't need to know how many episodes will it be. It's gonna be 9 episodes.
An hour long, I'm assuming.
I have no idea. 40 minutes maybe. I
40
don't know.
minutes, yeah.
So I just
It comes out every single week, right?
Yeah. So I mean we're several weeks removed from having to, because I assume we would just do it all in one.
Yeah.
Like we're not doing week to week. No, fuck that. No, that's too much. That's too much work for us, ladies and gentlemen. No, I feel like we should have something for it. Shouldn't we? Probably. Maybe. I don't know. I'm just looking for content.
How about this? How about we watch the first episodes on our own or something like that, or whatever,
Yeah.
and then decide from there. Because if it's like bad, I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna waste what's effectively 9 hours of my life watching a bad show.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not really tripping about it, but we'll see.
Yeah,
We shall see.
play it.
People did not seem impressed with that first episode, though.
Yeah.
So-
I noticed.
That's tough.
Yeah.
That's a tough starting point.
So
You know
on
what
you,
else
Last
is
of Us?
tough sometimes, Connor?
Starting the show.
Starting the show.
Yeah.
What's poppin', players? Welcome back to the Two Penny Gamescast, episode 87, I believe. I don't have my time codes right in front of me
That
because
sounds
my
right.
Google Doc is fucking up. Anyways, I am your host, Tavin Bothel, here with my good friend and co-host, Connor Elliott. Say hello to the people, Connor.
Hello.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't know, every week, Monday, 8 a.m., youtube.com/2pennygamescast, or mainstream podcast services of your choice, me and Connor sit down and we give you the new news in the video game industry. We give you 2 topics, 2 pennies, if you will, and we give you our 2 cents on them. But if just talking about video games isn't enough for you, go hop over twitch.tv/2pennygames Tuesday, 2 p.m. Central Time. Me and my good buddy Phil, we put on a little show called Hype. Have You Ever Played? HYEP, in which one of us sits down and shows the other one a video game they have never played before. This last week, Connor, we finished up Catherine.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good time.
What ending did he get?
What ending did he get? You'll have to find out when After the Hype review comes out eventually. This week, though, ideally, the Uncharted 4, A Thief's End, After the Hype review from Phil should be coming out this Tuesday, tomorrow, if you're listening on day of release. Please go check that out. It'll be a lot of fun. He had a lot of thoughts, a lot of opinions about that Uncharted 4,
Okay.
A Thief's End.
Good ones, I hope.
And then the week after that, I played Sonic Adventure. So you'll be getting a Sonic Adventure after the Hype review. And then hopefully after that, Catherine. But this week, over at twitch.tv/2pennygames, we're doing something a little different. A little game called Tiny Tina's Wonderlands has come out. Me and Phil, both pretty excited about it. All right? So we said, you know what? It's Hype. Have you ever played? It's all about just playing a game we've never played before. So we're going to be spending this week's Hype playing Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. So come, drop in, twitch.tv/2pennygames, 2 p.m. Central Time for that. But until then, Connor, let's get into our first topic of the day. This one is going to be your first penny, I've decided.
I wonder why.
Anyways, Microsoft paid $5 to $10 million to get Guardians of the Galaxy on Game Pass, analyst claims. There's an article from VGC News by Jordan Midler. Microsoft likely paid between $5 to $10 million to get Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy on Xbox Game Pass, according to an industry analyst. David Gibson, who is a senior analyst at MST Financial, has estimated that Square Enix was paid around $5 to $10 million for its superhero adventure to join the on-demand subscription service, although this figure has never been officially confirmed. Gibson says it's an estimate based on, quote, discussions with Square Enix and others. Gibson has been covering Square Enix as an analyst for 15 years. Microsoft typically keeps the terms of Xbox Game Pass deals confidential, so Gibson's estimate, if accurate, could shed some light on the upper end of the scale. In a recent blog post celebrating 9 years of ID at Xbox, Microsoft's Chris Charla revealed that the company has paid developers and publishers hundreds of millions of dollars in Game Pass licensing fees since the service launched. He's also revealed that after joining the service, an average member plays 30% more genres and 40% more games, with the majority of those games being outside of Game Pass. Guardians of the Galaxy joined Xbox Game Pass last month. Despite positive fan reception, Square Enix stated that the sales of its Guardians of the Galaxy game undershot initial expectations, which we covered a few weeks ago, I believe. So Guardians of the Galaxy, Connor, a game you played.
Yep.
Our good buddy Phil played. I made it a couple of hours in before I was like, nope. 5 to 10 million on Game Pass. Really, this is just an idea of like what some of them AAA titles are getting when they get thrown over there.
Yeah.
5 to 10 million. First of all, pretty wide range.
Yeah.
I would think. Maybe. I don't know.
Big range in any case, but
Yeah.
still, yeah. What? It's $5 million difference. That's pretty big.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very interesting to me that Microsoft is shilling out these numbers for its big AAA games. Now maybe Guardians is on the lower side of the AAA scale because the hype wasn't that crazy for it. The reviewed moderately well, but it didn't like set the world on fire by any means. So I'm curious if this is like sort of like a baseline for like your usual like mainstream title games, and then some of the bigger ones that they shell out some extra cash out for. When they bring up but also when they what's interesting here is some of the, sort of the like the nitty gritty numbers that they get into here. So when they say Game Pass, Microsoft has shelled out hundreds of millions of dollars. That's not too surprising. I don't think anybody. Game Pass has been around for a few years now. They're throwing out to all these third parties and stuff. Get it here, this, that, and the third. They got hundreds of games on Game Pass. It must be working for them because they're still using the service. Like it's like Microsoft is pushing the service more than they're pushing their consoles.
Yeah. Which I can never wrap my head around that. It always, whenever I see stories like this, I'm always like, how are they making money off this? Obviously, Game Pass is doing well, right? And it's gotten a lot of people in. But comparatively to $5-10 million for this one game from this one studio, every single time I'm like, okay, how much money are they actually making from this? Or are they expected to make more as a result of it, and they're still waiting on that payout? Yeah, I don't know.
It definitely seems in recent years that Microsoft has just been burning cash. But if you got it, use it. But I'm gonna guess, what was the last numbers we got? They were pushing 20 million. Users, something like that, on Game Pass, which was like, I want to say it was like 18 million, something like that, maybe even more. Oh no, they were pushing 25 last time, because it was a jump from 18 to like 25. If my memory is correct, please correct me in the comments. But things like that are like that's a huge chunk of change, especially when you take into account like the tiered service of Xbox Game Pass with Xbox Game Pass Ultimate or whatever it's called. Like you're. That them $10 a month monthly from 20 million people, that's a good chunk of change right there. On top of the fact you still got people buying games outright, you still got people jumping into microtransactions in your games of service games and all of that and paying for those. So I'm sure they're figuring it out, and it definitely seems like, and clearly like they're not doing this for every game. Here's $100,000 for fucking 12 minutes or whatever the fuck, I'm sure it was more than that, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a varied thing that you have to number crunch and all that. And, when you own as much as the industry as they do now, those Bethesda games cost them $7 billion. But hey, guess what? They don't have to do that ever again. That was a one-time payment, And
now they own them.
And now they own them. That's my point exactly, is they paid the however many billions to get all those games, and now they're just there.
I guess other ventures really start adding up to just the amount of money they make. Justifies these kinds of things a lot more. And it's just month after month, they're just rolling it with this Game Pass money. The average member plays 30% more genres and plays 40% more games, with the majority of those games being outside of Game Pass. So this is like kind of the proof of concept of Game Pass is like, hey man, when it's Netflix for games, yeah man, I'm going to try something new. I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to go out and I'm going to play something else. Hey, guess what? I fucking loved XYZ game that I played because I only played it on Game Pass. This is in the same genre. This is another one.
of the same series, but it's not on Game Pass. Fuck it. Let me fork out $40, $60, $70 because I liked this so much. I'm gonna play that. That's growth.
That especially makes sense for the people that might have just gotten the free month or the $1 month of
yes, exactly.
the Games Pass, and then they say, okay, I don't want Games Pass because I don't play that many games or for whatever reason, but now I'm going to go out and buy this game.
Yeah.
It does add up.
Now all of this is on my radar now.
Yeah.
This is just growth of industry. This is growth of culture. This is just growth of gaming as a whole. Like, Microsoft figured it out, man. Mm-hmm. Game Pass is the future. Yeah. And ideas like this. And I would assume so as much with all these rumors of Project Spartacus getting announced this next week.
Yeah. Which we'll wait and see if that actually ends up happening because we thought it might have been coming out a couple weeks ago, shortly before the show occurred on Sunday, but it didn't end up happening.
It was leading up to that. Not the Hogwarts State of Play, but the one before that we were like kind of lukewarm on. Mm-hmm. Leading up to that, we thought Spartacus might be announced in that. But then they were like, "Hey, it's just this," and we were like, "Okay, not a big deal." So, but all the rumors I'm hearing, you know how the Twitter sphere works. One guy drops and another guy says something else, and this, that, and the third. We get PlayStation about to have like the biggest news week of all time this week, if I'm going to believe Twitter, but we'll see. Spartacus gets extra interesting when you think about it with just how monumentally successful Game Pass has been. Okay, how do you match that, Sony? Mm-hmm. Like, okay, you have Legacy, which is something Xbox was, kind of lacking, with your PS1, PS2, PS3 games. But like, outside of that Legacy, what are you doing? And how do you base your multiplayer titles that you're trying to breed into and all that? And that honestly even feeds into our next story, but I'm going to let you say whatever you were about to say.
Yeah, I feel like with Project Spartacus, just simply doing what Xbox Games Pass did won't have the same effect as what Xbox Games Pass itself has had.
I agree.
I'm expecting some kind of gimmick. I can't even begin to know what that might be, but I feel like there'll be one thing in there that's going to make people go crazy and want to buy this product. At least if they have that idea in the works.
Yeah. Well, my thing is unlike Game Pass, you will not be getting PlayStation Studios games day and date. Mm-hmm. Like, let's say Spartacus comes out next month or whatever, and Ragnarok, God of War Ragnarok comes out this year. Mm-hmm. God of War Ragnarok will not be on Project Spartacus. I'm just going to say that right now. Absolutely not. No. PlayStation wants their $70 bump that they get from their major titles because they know that they've got it. Mm-hmm. They got the juice. So they're like, hey, man, like, no, you're going to pay for the premium stuff.
Yeah.
But maybe when we start talking about Haven Studios and how PlayStation just acquired them this last week, things change a little bit. So this is going to be the second story, my first penny of the day. PlayStation has acquired Haven Studios. We are pulling from a Fanbyte article here. PlayStation acquires Haven Studios before its debut game is even announced. Fanbyte by Kenneth Shepard. PlayStation has acquired another studio for its first-party stable. This time, it's Haven Studios, the team led by ex-Ubisoft, ex-EA, ex-Google lead Jade Raymond, which was founded last year alongside a partnership with Sony. The studio confirmed it was working on a new IP for PlayStation when it was first announced, but now it sounds like both companies are making the relationship more official. Head of PlayStation Studios Herman Holst announced the acquisition through a post on the PlayStation blog where he said Sony's partnership with Haven Studios has been so lucrative for both parties that Sony decided to buy the studio outright before the team's multiplayer project has even been properly unveiled to the public. The post also includes a statement from Raymond, which reads as follows. 1 year ago, this month, we embarked on a journey to start Haven Studios with a small team and big ambitions. Our goal was to build a studio that we could make the kind of games we've always wanted to create and games we've longed to play. We've made amazing progress in a short time thanks to our talented, passionate team and their exceptional contributions. We established a culture of Haven grounded in kindness, adaptability, and courage that unlocks creativity. Our first new IP for PlayStation is on track to deliver a AAA multiplayer experience with a vision to build a systemic and evolving world focused on freedom, thrill, and playfulness that will keep players entertained and engaged for years. Today, the Haven team begins a new phase of our journey as part of the PlayStation Studios family. Working with Herman, Connie Booth, and the team at PlayStation over the past year has been a career highlight. SIE is a supportive partner that truly understands the creative process and what it takes to make a blockbuster AAA game. They have empowered and encouraged us to bring our bold vision to life and make our dreams come true, and we could not be more thrilled about this opportunity to strengthen our partnership. As an SIE first-party studio, we will have the opportunity to collaborate with some of the world's most renowned development teams, including studios like Guerrilla, Naughty Dog, Media Molecule, and Insomniac Games. The creators of games that have inspired us as players and developers for years. We're excited to learn from these world-class studios, as well as the exceptional central creative technology and marketing teams whose expertise will enable us to deliver even bigger games to players. To our Haven team, a huge thank you. It's been one of the most rewarding years of my career, and to the players out there, we can't wait to share more. We're just at the beginning of what is sure to be a wondrous adventure that will span generations. Now, straight off the back of the Bungie acquisition, this is interesting to me. Very interesting to me. First off, Connor, before I start ranting, do you have any thoughts about this?
It's such a new studio that it doesn't have any rep. It doesn't have any past history that we can look back to try and make any kind of
Jade Raymond, the storied creative lead, though.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing we know about what they can potentially push out. Obviously, they're promoting a games of service game as their next game.
Clearly.
Yeah. Obviously, quality matters at the end of the day. So
clearly. It's a PlayStation Studios game, man. That's your brand.
Which is a good. Usually they come out with good quality, but nothing is perfect. So I hope it doesn't go the way of the one we just talked about last week. I forgot the name. Perfect Dark.
Perfect Dark, and how it seems that studio is a bit, a touch on fire.
Yeah, a new studio as well. The Initiative, that's what it's called.
Yeah,
and they're struggling, even though they're associated with Microsoft. So it always can happen. That always can go that route. Obviously, you seem excited about something very, very specific.
Clearly, to me, this is the exact opposite. Of what's happening over at the Initiative. This is the exact opposite here, where PlayStation said, hey, let's give you the funds to get started, and we'll see where we go from here. I think from the jump, PlayStation was like, yeah, if things go well, we're going to acquire you, and you're going to be a first-party thing, and you'll make your home here at PlayStation. Clearly, as the front runners and leaders in our multiplayer division that we want to start pushing. Because, we've got the single-player narrative adventure games down-packed. God of War, Uncharted, Last of Us, Horizon, Returnal, Ratchet and Clank, Spider-Man. You can keep going from there. But it's just banger after banger after banger with these third-person action adventure games. But we have no real multiplayer suite. Here you go. This is we are putting up the money to get you guys started, but with the intention of this. But let's take it slow. Let's make sure things develop correctly. Let's make sure our studio culture is correct. Let's make sure we provide developers a home in which they feel comfortable to create instead of a job in which they feel pressured to overwork themselves at. Hopefully that's what's happening behind the scenes.
I really hope so as well.
PlayStation Studios is not fully innocent in their fight against crunch. Naughty Dog specifically is a golden example of like, yo, those motherfuckers are killing themselves over there. But on the same end, Insomniac doesn't crunch. Yeah, Santa Monica does. Insomniac doesn't. I don't think Housemarque does, but I could be wrong on that, and I don't know.
Specifically, don't. I think I remember seeing something that they
Sucker Punch doesn't. I know Sucker Punch doesn't. So varied success here in treating our workers correctly. And I think this is what I was kind of alluding to last week, where you have to cultivate a studio. You can't just jump in with legendary developers or a highly experienced and talented team. You need to cultivate a culture and a workplace that's going to work, and I think PlayStation is on the right track here. And I'm going to take this acquisition as a big sign of saying, hey, PlayStation's very happy with where Haven Studios, how Haven Studios has been developing.
Yep. Hopefully, though, their happiness or excitement over Haven is going to be founded later on, because in recent years we've had lots of burns. We had CD Projekt Red; they failed with Cyberpunk from being one of the most respected, loved studios to now being really hated. Now, some of it's unwarranted to a degree.
A lot of it's unwarranted.
Yeah. Then we also had Bethesda. They went down the drain. They were one of the biggest.
Yep.
As I just said originally, the Initiative.
And hopefully we're going to start seeing some turns here with a lot of those stories.
But I hope so as well.
Here, I'm actually quite interested. if it wasn't a new studio, Haven would be my front runner for most, like, these guys are about to be the ones. But because we haven't seen anything from them, Housemarque is to me still the new studio that's like, hey man, keep an eye on them, because Returnal was fucking one of the greatest games of all time. And, you know, Housemarque been putting out great games. So like, I'm super excited now that we're past Returnal and Housemarque has been officially acquired. I'm super excited to see what Housemarque has in the future. And if Haven just had anything to its name, I would be highly, highly interested to see what happens from here, especially off the back of the of the Bungie acquisition. Even though Destiny still remains multi-platform and Bungie can, you know, put their games on whatever they want still, it's clear to me that Bungie is going to be working as the backbone on the tech side of, you know, server maintenance and, you know, getting your multiplayer to work functionally and crafting a community and all of that. I think PlayStation has been very calculated in setting up the dominoes to fall properly. I hope, at least. You know, it seems like they're keying themselves up for an easy slam dunk. We'll see. But yeah, I'm super interested to see where it's going. But Connor, I was fascinated by this acquisition because I was like, this is weird. They don't have a game. Why would you do that? And I was like, well, maybe that just means that they're very happy with what's happening and they always had intentions of doing that. But that still doesn't seem like PlayStation. So, like, there must have been some more factors into this other than wanting to grow their multiplayer thing, other than this and that. This is a Montreal-based team out in Canada. Do you know out in Canada, Quebec, the government just throws money at the arts?
Oh, really?
Yeah, they throw mad money at the arts. And this is something that I knew about through my background in acting and theater and it's you know, tangent connection to like film and stuff. A lot of production work, a lot of creative work happens over in Canada.
Yeah,
it's because the government just loves to fund the arts.
You see, I always saw information of that happening over in Canada.
Yeah,
big filming scene. I didn't know that's why.
Well, it's also, if you've been paying attention, damn near every major publishing studio has at least one development team in Montreal, except for PlayStation Studios.
So they want to get their hands on that money, that government money.
Guys, Canada is the new creative, like in terms of creation in the arts, Canada is like the place to be. That, like, you know, it's not LA, New York, it's not speaking for game development, it's not Japan or, you know, Sweden's been making their name recently, or all these European studios, you know, London's a big name, so on and so forth. It's Canada.
It's the modern day Athens.
That's really fucking funny.
For all of you non-history buffs out there, Athens.
Okay, all right, moving on. they can Google. They can Google. But no, absolutely, like, it's genius, bro. Like it's just the way all of these dominoes lined up for them, man.
Okay,
this is a chess move.
Yeah.
Of a different degree. It really is really smart to do all of these small little things, which, like, independently you're like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But no, man, this is calculated. Like, PlayStation Studios is doing something really smart.
More thought behind this decision than I originally thought.
Yeah, there's more thought and more intention behind everything PlayStation Studios does. And this is what they've always said. You know, I think it was Herman Holst who was quoted around the Bethesda acquisition. He was like, yeah, we are looking to grow our team, but we're going to do it in smart ways that make sense instead of just buying everything that comes up for sale.
Yeah.
It's a quantity versus quality conversation. I lie with the quality. I'd rather play, you know, crazy out of our mind-blowing games, even though I do recognize that you still need your 6s, your 7s, and your 8s instead of just straight up 9s and 10s all the time. And you also need your 2s and 3s and 4s and 1s if you're so unlucky to play a one game. But yeah, keep your eye on this Haven Studios, guys.
Yeah, see what game they make.
Keep your eye on this Haven Studios. Connor, you mentioned them earlier. I keep forgetting that I don't have my time codes on the computer, so I gotta go over here. Connor, you mentioned that they're CD Projekt Red earlier, and for our next topic, my second penny of the day. CD Projekt Red has announced a new Witcher game.
Surprising to me.
Is it?
In a sense, I didn't expect it coming now.
Not this soon.
Yeah.
I agree. Which means I think Cyberpunk is probably a dead IP. But we're going to get right into this. We're pulling straight from their Twitter account, which pulled from their website. We're happy to announce that the next installment in the Witcher series of video games is currently in development, kicking off a new saga for the franchise. This is an exciting moment as we're moving from Red Engine to Unreal Engine 5, beginning a multi-year strategic partnership with Epic Games. It covers not only licensing, but technical development of Unreal Engine 5, as well as potential future versions of Unreal Engine where relevant. We'll closely collaborate with Epic Games developers, with the primary goal being to help tailor the engine for open-world experiences. At this point, no further details regarding the game, such as development time frame or release date, are available. Red Engine, the technology which powers Cyberpunk 2077, is still being used for the development of the upcoming Cyberpunk 2077 expansion. So, Cyberpunk still kicking around, still working.
Yeah. I guess we were kind of just wrong with what we just said about them being a dead IP.
Well, no. My thing is like, I don't know if we're ever getting a Cyberpunk 2.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I don't expect that.
They've put too much background into Cyberpunk 2077 as a game, as an experience to just drop it after release. You know, we've still got the next gen versions are coming still, or they're here. I forget.
I think they're here.
I think they're here. And I heard they were fun. So good, cool.
Yeah.
I have no interest. No, but yeah, the expansion's coming. You know, they got animated things or something going on. You know, they got Cyberpunk as a brand is strong, but I just don't know if we're ever going to see a Cyberpunk 2, especially not for a while. And it just makes sense for CD Projekt Red to return back to the well. We see some kind of, is it like a wolf or a dingo or a...
Yeah, I was looking at that because it doesn't look... If that's not the wolf...
No, it's not. And I read this is actually for a new school that CD Projekt... school of Witcher craft that CD Projekt Red is... inventing on their own. So this is fully all of them, 100%. We're not pulling from other than the world and the characters or not so much the characters, but the world and the atmosphere and the lore is all still going to be from the books and so forth. But like, this is their own characters. These are their own stories just taking place within that world.
They already did take a lot of artistic liberties with Witcher anyway, because obviously it's different from the books. The video games have been.
They basically just continued the story from the books.
Yeah. Okay.
That's really it. It's the books are just your background for Geralt of Rivia.
Okay. I thought it was more just completely new stuff. Well, I guess it kind of
it is. It's just the continuation of that story is all it is. And then this is I'm of two minds on this. You know, and we knew this was going to happen because I think inevitably they were going to return to the Witcher franchise. Witcher 3 and Witcher 2 even just was so successful for them that it would have been impossible not to. Like, this was coming. It's just off the back of 2077. You have to pause and you go, okay. And they're like, hey, no details. So this isn't coming anytime soon.
It's not.
2028, 2029, maybe? Who knows?
Which is why I was surprised that we even got anything on it. Because, I mean, this is the classic tactic that game companies seem to do a lot.
Well, the real news is the Unreal Engine 5.
Yeah.
And their partnership with Epic Games, which is a lot of these developers are going over with Epic Games Unreal Engine 5. BioWare's, their next games are going to be over there. I think I could be wrong, but Bethesda's mentioned, I think, Google that for me, Bethesda and Unreal Engine.
Well, generally, the Unreal Engine has been popular among developers. Just
for being highly accessible and easy to use. Yeah. So that choice makes sense. And what's odd is, like, the Red Engine is solid, at least with how it worked with Witcher 3 and I believe Witcher 2. Like, Witcher 2 is a beautiful game, and Witcher 3 is as well, but it being open world, you're going to lose some of that higher fidelity quality and so forth. But also on a different generation of consoles, Witcher 3, you know, it's not as apples and oranges as, like, you would think. Go ahead.
It doesn't appear like Bethesda is.
Okay.
It seems like they're using a Creation Engine 2 is what they're
okay,
doing.
I pulled that out of my ass then. But BioWare is definitely using Unreal Engine 5. So I find it interesting that these major, you know, open world focused RPG design teams focused around story and choices and all this are all switching over there. That's very fascinating to me, especially the two studios that have the pedigrees that they have, even though they've had some missteps in recent years. So I'm excited because Witcher 3 is one of my favorite video games of all time, and I would love to return to that universe, and I would love to see, that team, deliver on something even better than what they have before, if that's even possible. Mm-hmm. But I'm also the guy who just spent 2 years now, remembering how terrible of an experience he had with Cyberpunk 2077, Mm-hmm. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, all right, we'll see. And then how CD Projekt Red was just straight up lying to us in marketing and mm-hmm. even post-release controversy, just straight up just felt the need to lie to us. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, wow, you guys really burned a bridge with your consumers. So I'm trepidatious about this. Like, I'm not gung-ho like day one as I would like to be.
I mean, when you're a company that messes up in the way that they did, you got to get some goodwill back.
Yeah,
that's just the nature of the game.
Yeah, that to me is still the worst launch ever. Like,
I struggle to think of one that I played, experienced on my own by myself that rivals that. You
guys just dropped the ball in every facet of conversation. Mm-hmm. Like, there was no even Hello Games with No Man's Sky. Yeah, the game came out. It wasn't what people wanted. People were pissed off. They shut the fuck up and went away. Mm-hmm.
And came back with their what it is now.
Exactly. And the problem with CD Projekt Red is they never shut the fuck up. They just kept talking.
They really, I can't. I mean, it's all just a mess now, and it's been a while since we covered any of the specific stories. But I remember shortly after Cyberpunk came out, and obviously we talked about how the game was really fucked up mm-hmm. for many people when it came out. Mm-hmm. But we also covered multiple stories of them just more and more bad information just coming out, like specifically how they treat their workers, how they lied to people. We found that out after the release came.
Well, we knew about the crunch going on leading up to it.
Yeah, we knew about the crunch, but specifically, we just got more information about how bad they screwed everything up.
Exactly.
And they just dug themselves into a deeper hole. So that, plus just being away for a couple of years, because Cyberpunk hasn't gotten much changed about it. Obviously, it's been improved, but the hype went away. People forgot about the game. People just tossed it to the side. So it didn't really have the intended effect they probably would have liked it to have. It didn't revitalize people visiting back to Cyberpunk. So this does scream like it's their best chance to get people excited again. Because they made The Witcher 3. So it's more believable to think that when they eventually do come out with this game, it's...
Witcher 2 is a great game, too.
Yeah, Witcher 2 is... I just haven't experienced that game myself, even though I haven't. Because you gave it to me.
Did I?
Yeah, you gifted it to me on Steam. It was like $1. So
you should go play that.
Yeah, I know. But since they have at least an idea of how to make a Witcher game, it's a lot safer of a territory to go into than doing another Cyberpunk 2.
That's fair.
Because it messed up once. If it messed up again, that's bad news. Yeah. So it's a safer deal to release this than it is to do anything else.
I think this engine change also might be good for them. Even though Red Engine, I don't think was that, maybe it was difficult to work with. I don't know specifically, but it worked hella well for Witcher 3. That game ran very well. Obviously, Cyberpunk didn't, but I guess the engine wasn't prepared for how vertical Cyberpunk was, because it wasn't just an open world game. It was an open world, there would be, you go into a building, and then there's different floors, and all of those were trying to render at the same time, and that was part of the problem. At least that's what CD Projekt Red was saying. I think the truth is you probably should have just waited a year.
Do you think they also could have included more load times? Obviously, people would have been annoyed by it, but that could have alleviated some of the issues.
No, if I'm them, I would say, hey, listen, this game isn't coming out for at least another. I wouldn't put a date on it. They kept putting dates on it and kept delaying it and delaying and delaying it. And I would have said, listen, man, this game is really hard to make, and it's just not. We can't get it to work on last generation consoles. We just can't. So we're canceling those versions of the games. If you've pre-ordered, we'll refund your pre-order. But yeah, you need to. Yeah, we're doing next gen only is what they should have done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and they didn't. But then they also should have put in the development time of an extra year to really make sure everything worked. But
they did.
It's all hearsay now.
Mm-hmm.
Connor, speaking of hearsay, let's jump into our
Hearsay.
If that's what we want to call it. Let's jump into our final topic of the day. Your final penny. Let's talk about some Activision Blizzard stuff. Pulling what is this? PC Gamer by Jody McGregor. If Activision Blizzard recognizes a union, Microsoft will not stand in the way. In January, QA workers at Raven Studio formed the first video game industry union at major North American studios. The Game Workers Alliance was created following a labor rights strike that began in December, and a supermajority of employees voted in favor for it. That means it can be formalized through the U.S. National Labor Relations Board, whether it receives management recognition or not. But the union requested official voluntary recognition anyway. Activision Blizzard chose not to give it. The union formed in the same month that Microsoft announced it was acquiring Activision Blizzard for $69 billion. Still a fucking ridiculous amount of money. As the Washington Post reports, this week, 15 workers at Raven signed a letter calling on Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella to give Activision Blizzard a nudge in the right direction. The letter also takes Activision Blizzard's law firm Reed Smith to task for anti-union material on its website. Quote, I hope that you will agree that this demeaning and insulting approach to employees who are seeking to improve their workplace should not be tolerated, the letter says. Microsoft's corporate vice president and general counsel Lisa Tanzi gave a statement to the Washington Post in response, saying that the company, quote, will not stand in the way if Activision Blizzard's management does not recognize a union. Quote, Microsoft respects Activision Blizzard employees' right to choose whether to be represented by a labor organization, and we will honor these decisions, Tanzi said. Okay, so normally we have the thing where we talk about the people up front. Chose not to do this here, even though it would have been easy just because it's a short story and there's not much to say about it. But it's really just small, quick little update, just a little progress, little bookmark, little, hey, remember this, as we continue down this Activision Blizzard rabbit hole of workplace harassment and comfortability. So good on Microsoft for now to say, hey, we're not gonna get in your way. Let's hope they stay true to those words. We gotta hold them true to those words, and then hope for the best that these Acti Blizzard people can get what they need done.
Yeah, the video game industry obviously is not known for its unions. It's hard to get those started in the first place.
Yep.
So Microsoft saying they won't stand in the way, it's nice, but once you actually, when it comes down to brass tacks, I don't know if they'll actually keep up with that. Now, it makes sense that it would, considering all of the bad news that's been surrounding Activision Blizzard and their dedication, or declared dedication, to not let it go on. It would be really, really stupid if their reaction was just to stand in the way.
Yeah.
So clearly this is what they should be doing, but I hope that the heat doesn't die down to a point where they can say, oh, well, you know what, maybe, we don't have to stand aside.
I'm expecting I think Microsoft is being quiet right now. I would hope they're just being quiet when it comes to this situation, because they're waiting for this deal to finalize and to go through and to not, there's the FCC looking into it and all this stuff. So I think once the deal finalizes and it's all said and done, and we get Kotick the fuck up out of there, I think we're going to hear loud efforts to improve the situation. I would hope so, at least.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, when you take on the brand of Activision Blizzard, you're going to need to do some advertising.
In the current state. And it's like a thing of, like, Phil Spencer needs to be out and be like, hey, all right, new management. We're going to fix this. It's going to get done. Things are going to get done right. If you want to come work on Call of Duty, again, come work on Call of Duty, because we're going to do it correctly this time. Where else was I? But yeah, I don't know how much else I have to say. Just hope for the best.
Just keep you updated.
It's ridiculous that an industry and an entertainment medium that makes this much fucking money has no standardization, no unions, nothing to say, hey man, we as a creative force demand this amount of money because of the XYZ. You just can't do that. Like, you just get paid whatever they want to pay you.
The more money the video game industry makes, and it's been making it without unions being around, they want to try and maximize profits as much as possible. Unions aren't exactly known for striving for a higher profit. It's for the workers, or supposedly supposed to be for
get the people great. Gotta get the people good.
Yeah, so hopefully they don't decide that unionization would be too negative to Microsoft to the point where they want to stand in the way. But realistically, I don't think they will. I think we're probably all right with them not screwing this up. It'd be really hard to.
Especially in, like, the ways that it has been done before.
Yeah.
But I guess we're just going to have to continue working and hoping for the best here. Connor, that is it for the news, my friend. So I'm going to maximize this right here. I'm going to minimize this to make sure it looks okay. Yeah, it looks okay. Connor, back to what we've been playing.
Yes.
Let's get back to you, my friend. What have you been playing?
Well, a lot of my focus has been put on triangle strategy.
Look at that.
Interesting. Didn't get as far as I would want it to, but I progressed in the story, got to the next big decision that I made. It was honestly a really good one because I stopped playing it that night.
Hey, guess what? The next one? Not as good.
Not as good?
Not as good.
Yeah, because I was literally racking my mind at work next day. I'm like, when I get home and I play this game, what am I going to choose?
Yeah.
Because I got in the mindset of, okay, well, if I do this decision, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
But realistically, in the framing of the game, that might not be the good choice. But the other one seems better, but it's not me. It's not what I would choose.
It's not me.
So it made me think. It really, really did.
Do you ever get stressed out and go, fuck, man, I really hope because when you're trying to talk to people, man, I really hope I said the right things here.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mentioned to you before. Yeah. The pacing has been the biggest issue with this game.
Oh, it's not great, and it's why I haven't really touched it this week.
Yeah.
Because I'm
just
not in the mood to read text for hours on end, bro.
Yeah, my issue has been getting off work and being tired because I wake up early, and then knowing that I'm going to be playing a game that I have to read a lot. I like reading a lot.
It takes some focus.
But it does take some focus, yeah. Especially when, I'm trying to hear the voice acting as well and let that play out, but I kind of just want to read and go through it as fast as possible because the pace has gotten so slow. Because even though I played multiple hours over this past week, I feel like the story didn't progress all that much. Yeah, there was a lot of talking, lots of supplementary things. Like
and see, I'm still only a few hours ahead of you. You started catching up to me now, but like, I still feel like the plot is just getting going. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, there's only been a few like character moments where I'm like, wow, that was really cool. Like that, here we go with some development. But like, I'm like 15 plus hours deep, bro. Like. When am I gonna stop feeling like we're in Act 1? Yeah. This is getting a little ridiculous. Now, granted, I am clearly out of Act 1. I'm in the Act 2, which is probably gonna take up the majority of the game at this point. And don't get it misconstrued. I like this game. It's a good game.
Yeah. Pacing doesn't mean it's a bad game or a game that I don't want to play. It's just criticism.
Yeah, it's just critiques and so forth. But, I like the combat system. I think you actually have to be smart and think about it and work your way through and all that. But,
which actually is one of the things I was going to mention because, the pacing, it started becoming apparent that was a problem to me. But as I played more of the game and it got harder, I started liking the gameplay even more. Because I really do sit down and I'm like, okay, what am I doing now? Yeah. I should guide these people over here because that's more advantageous for these units over here. Yeah. Whereas if they go over that other direction, I'm going to lose a lot of guys.
I'm going to lose. Yeah. And I remember the first time I lost a fight, I lost it hard.
Okay.
Like, I got wiped. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, pause, hold on. Let's just sit here and think for a second. I'm taking in the environment. I'm like, okay, I know there's a way up there because of the exploration phase, which, like, that's such smart game design of, like, we're going to let you explore the battlefield so that you can use it to your advantage. So then when we turn up that difficulty and we get, fuck you hard, you're not sitting there banging your head against a wall because there's a way around that little mountain over there that you can climb and flank them around because you spent 5-10 minutes hanging around the battle area for a little while.
Games like this will have and this isn't a criticism of the games themselves, but tactical RPGs will have, you make one decision, specifically where your unit just moves, and then you realize you can't make that movement the way you thought you did, and there you go, that's wasted. Still can happen in this game, but it's all relying on you, and how perceptive you are and how much you remember that map. Yeah. Which is, as you said, I think it's very, very good game design for them to do for this.
I think so as well. It's just that they sit and talk to you for so goddamn long.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of talking.
It's not necessarily boring talking either, but it's still just a lot of talking.
It is, yeah.
You're trying to get through the story, but you have to go through these conversations.
Yeah, and if they just sprinkled in more fighting or more combat, like there's the tutorial like list. That's where like the side battles are is in that which I don't personally like, but I guess
I see that as more of a slog to do than anything else.
it kind of does feel that way sometimes when I'm doing it, but I wish there was more of them. Like, because I'm getting 2, and then we go and talk for over an hour, and then I have 1 story battle or maybe 2 story battles, and then I go back and I'm like, okay, they've added 1 more.
Yeah.
Okay, would have liked 5 of these, so that I could, because even the way they break up their story with the side missions just being more context and more story, like instead of like a battle, I would like to be able to break that up and set up my own pacing of like, man, I don't feel like listening to talking anymore. I feel like doing some combat. Let me jump back over there. Oh, great. 1 to 3 more have been unlocked because I listened to this side thing. So now I get to play a quick battle that has no narrative context. So it's just kind of like whatever, but it's something to break it up for me, just more of those.
And I totally agree with you on that point a lot. One thing I do like how part of the problem connected to that is the leveling, because so far I've encountered the same issue that you've ran into, where usually the level that I am is 1, maybe 2 lower than the recommended level of the mission that I'm going to do.
It's very intentional that way.
Yeah, it's very intentional because I didn't realize this when I first started playing the game until I came back here, but XP stays over when you lose. I didn't know that.
Huh?
Yeah, because it stays over. I was surprised because I was like,
wait, so like if a character hits level 9, whatever, in the middle of battle, and then you lose and get sent back, it doesn't reset that?
It doesn't seem like it does, because it said that in one of the tutorials, and I was like, wait a second, what? It wouldn't. Obviously, I misread it. And then one of my characters got icy breath. This is how I found out.
Yeah.
And
kept out.
I lost, and then I had it again. I was like, when I restarted it, I was like, wait, what?
Huh.
Which alleviates that issue of going to the encampment and doing those missions. It kind of maybe expects you, if you're having issues with them.
Let me just grind out and lose to this story mission again and again and again and again until I'm of the right level.
But at least it gets you even then, the mission that I failed, I can't even remember what it was. I think it was on a technicality as well, because Roland died. And it was like, don't let Roland die. I let him die. So I had to restart it.
Yeah.
Having
I know which
XP,
one. That's that bridge mission, yeah?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Look at me.
Exactly what it was, yeah. Was it that bridge mission? No. Yeah, it was.
Regardless.
Having that system in place, obviously it seems like the intention now was to keep going at these harder missions if you can't beat them, and get to a point where you can beat them.
We're still getting progress.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not stuck.
No, we're getting
Which can
progress.
happen in these games sometimes, especially with like Fire Emblem with permadeath. You can get stuck, and then you just can't progress because you're out of characters.
Yeah. So it does. I like that they added that.
Clearly, this one doesn't have a permadeath, but they do. But they counter that by being harder than a Fire Emblem game.
Yeah, especially the mission objectives, which actually seem like they hold a lot more weight than Fire Emblem games. Like those.
Yeah.
If you don't meet those, if you really don't focus on those parameters, you can lose. Whereas in Fire Emblem games, even if I didn't focus on them, I could usually.
You wipe the board. Your units are usually stronger than most. Just don't be an idiot, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, that's generally my thought process on that as well. I guess what was I trying to say originally? Got cut off. It seems like that's also used to try and give you more combat, because it seems like a lot of the times combat happens very rarely. It takes a lot of time to get from combat to combat. So it seems like they tried to alleviate that problem with this game mechanic of allowing you to just do missions over and over and over again and not have it wasted because you keep XP. You lose items, but you keep XP. Yeah, I know. And items consumed. No. I know for a fact it was, if you consume items, they don't actually stay consumed after you.
But once you picked up,
they go away.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. That is how I would expect that to work anyway. But it's the fact that the XP carries over actually fascinates me.
Yeah, but even with that potential attempt to try and make you do more and more combat, the pacing still persists, and you still have to wait long periods of time to do combat.
But I sit here and I look at this combat trial right now that's happening, and I go, "This game's good.
It's a good game.
It's a good game. I want to play this game." Even though I'm busy doing a million other things.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of busy doing a million other things, Connor, I did a little thing
Returnal.
Called Returnal.
Mm-hmm.
Their Ascension update went live this last week, and we played it over at twitch.tv/2pennygames after we finished up Catherine. me and Phil hopped on, and we figured out ourselves a little co-op stream going on here, and we played ourselves some Returnal Ascension. I didn't have the chance to do the Trial Tower, the survival mode, which
Tower of Sisyphus.
Which we found out is not co-op. I thought it was. It is not.
That seems like that's something that should have been co-op.
I would think so as well, but it is not. And no, this Returnal co-op actually worked better than I was expecting it to work.
Okay.
So what it does is it bases your leveling and your story progress based off of the host player. So, for example, there's the grapple hook ability. If I enter your game and you don't have the grapple hook, I don't have it either.
Okay.
And then we just kind of build from there. Me and Phil were having a lot of network connectivity issues when I tried to join him, but when he joined me, worked pretty fine. Worked out pretty well. And man, yeah, Returnal's great, guys. Yeah. I don't know if you ever knew about this, but Returnal, damn good game.
I think last year it was on your number 6 position.
No, it was my number 1. It was my game of the year. It was my game of the year, and I'll say it's entered my top 10 favorite games of all time.
Number 10.
I fucking adore it. I think it's higher than that.
Okay.
I fucking adore Returnal. I think just again, like these systems, they work just as great as those. But focusing on co-op, they do the thing where like only one person can pick up loot. Or like if I pick up the weapon, he can't go pick up the weapon either. Or if I pick up the ethers, which are like the currencies to like clear out stuff and stuff, he can't get that. Or if it's whatever other like health items, only one of us can pick up and stuff. It seems like the cheaper currency, the like little golden wispy currency that I can't remember the name of right now, it seems like those are present for both of us, and it's the only thing that is present. Because when we go up to, those are used to fabricate items at select points, and it seems that if I go up to a fabricator and I use it, it didn't apply to him. But like things like health upgrades, where like you like lie down on a bench and a cutscene plays for it, only one of us can do that. So we have to like choose, and like we have to sit there and be like, okay, do you need the health upgrade or do I? Like where are we here? Like like let's have a conversation about it. Or like, hey man, I just found this gun. I'm kind of happy with mine. I would like this, but you've got a shit gun. So do you want this gun instead? And he goes, yeah, I want this, and so on and so forth.
Very ideal way to do co-op.
Yeah,
in my mind.
Yeah. See, and here you see our network error code, but that might just be because of our internets. I don't fucking know. When it was running smoothly, it was running pretty damn smoothly, and it was nice. But when it wasn't, it wasn't.
Are you both connected by Ethernet?
No.
Maybe that's why.
Why. And then there's cute little lines when the other player enters your world. That are said like, how did you get here? There's also like some kind of leveling system that only works if you enter another player's world. Like, so at first, like I was entering his, and we saw a little number by my name. It was like level 1, and we saw that go up to level 2. And I went, oh, I'm level 2. And he goes, what are you talking about? I go, well, there's a little number by my name. And he goes, oh, you are number 2. And I was like, do you see the experience bar around it? He goes, no, I don't. And then when we flipped, his number started going up, and he made it to like level 4 or 5 or whatever. And I just stayed at level 2 the whole time. We don't know what the purpose of that is. I guess it's just to show how much co-op you play for other people. I don't fucking know.
News to me.
Story progress also only continues for the host player.
Okay.
So like if both you and I started fresh accounts and I just jumped straight into your world, and then we played for 6 hours and made all this progress, none of that happens in my solo game.
Okay.
So there's that. Pros and cons, but I guess there's only so much we can do here.
Yeah.
Especially because the co-op wasn't in mind from the jump, but it's been done pretty effectively here.
And that seems fixable if they want to change that in the future.
Yeah. Fights are a lot easier, of course, with the co-op. But they balance that out by having the equipment be split between the two of us, so you're not getting as powerful as fast.
Yeah.
If you die, quote unquote die, you go down, you can be picked up, you gain a little bit of health back. That kind of takes a lot of the risk reward out of the environmental challenges and the platforming challenges, because like, okay, if I get hit by a laser, and you go down, they teleport you to a safe location so that you can you can be picked up. So you're sitting there like, all right, so I guess I'm just not really gonna care, and I'm just gonna risk it for the biscuit every time because it just doesn't matter. Granted, like, you know, it will weaken you for the next firefight, but
you're two people.
You're two people. Just don't both of you go down. You know,
the classic co-op conundrum.
Yeah, and then you know all of the already in-game systems of like giving you second chances and stuff are still there. So I think the game is a little easier now. But it's just the fact that, like, you know, at the end of our stream, we got to the boss fight for this area, and we almost won. We were literally like so close, but like I kept going down, and then Phil went down at the end, like just before he finished it off, and it was just like we just didn't have it. And I would have had 50% more health if I was playing solo, and I would have you know been XYZ percentage wise more powerful and stuff. And you really start, like, when you're playing the game, you're making your own build and you're like, oh, okay, this thing works with this thing and this and that and that there. But like there are items you pick up that you're like, hey, my defense goes up an extra 5-10% or whatever. Well, with co-op, now with items being spread across the both of us, now we actually have to communicate. Hey man, this item does that. How does that work with your build? Oh, this works in my build this way. It actually works better for me if I pick this up because of this reason. You know, XYZ, and you communicate and have to work your way through that. Whereas in solo play, you're like, fuck it, man. I'll just take them all. I'll take all the upgrades. Why not? You know what I'm saying?
The network error. Damn.
Yeah, we were having some network issues.
Again, did the network issues just completely reset you, or is it just...
So the host player keeps going.
Oh, okay.
But you cannot rejoin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the host player has to reset their cycle and get it going through here. So we've jumped ahead and now you see like Phil's level hit that level 4, the little orange number there, and I'm still at level 2. So we're in my game now, running through doing things and stuff. But I mean, it's Returnal, man. You add a friend, it's more fun.
Yeah.
Great game, still a great game, man. Absolutely. Just another reason to pick it up. And I've yet to try the Tower of Sisyphus, but like, the fact that it's not co-op makes me go, why?
And are you really... I don't think I've asked you, but those challenges type deals, do you like them all that much?
What do you mean?
Like tower challenges or any kind of challenge run?
Oh, just generally in video games and stuff? They're cute, but like I'm usually there for the main mode.
Okay.
You know, and this one, like, I mean, I'll definitely try it at some point, but like I would rather focus on running through the main mode of Returnal so that I can make progress for trophies and eventually get the platinum, because the trophy list sucks. But, you know, I do want that eventually. But yeah, Returnal Ascension works great, plays great. The systems are still fantastic. The risk reward is still there. The balance is still there. It's just if you're not prone to mistakes, this is just going to make a relatively challenging game easier. But if you are prone to mistakes, it'll make a relatively challenging game easier. You can get carried through it a little more, or it's just fun. It's a good time. But there's still ways that they keep that challenge alive. It's just clearly just not as hard as solo play, which you would probably expect with a co-op game anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's great. I love it. So much fun.
Great.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be it for your Two Penny Gamescast episode 87. Thank you so much for joining us and listening all the way. Remember, you can catch us every Monday, 8 a.m. Central Time, youtube.com/2pennygamescast, and mainstream podcast services of your choice. If that's not enough, come join us over at twitch.tv/2pennygames, where we are going to be playing Tiny Tina's Wonderland live for the first time Tuesday, 2 p.m. Central. Twitch.tv/2pennygames. But until next time, have a great time. And Connor, say goodbye to the people.
Goodbye.